Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live weekly chat. I hope you've all had an absolutely fantastic, voluptuous week as always. And as always, it's been such a busy royal week, in particular for Prince Harry. And I'm wearing my Invictus Games shirt again, and also the Canadian maple leaf brooch, which the Queen often wears when she's doing anything Canada related, or she may even lend it to a member of the family if they do anything Canada related, such as when she's lent it on several occasions to Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, when she has gone to Canada herself with Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge. So without further ado, I'm going to find the chat window, which I opened, and hopefully we won't have a repeat of the last 2 weeks worth of technical difficulties. Now I have the chat window, but it is incredibly small, so do excuse me if I have to strain down to see. We have Oh Dear, hello to you. We have Ingrid, we have Jen, we have Nina, we have HW, and we have Candice. And a few people have noticed that I'm in a different room. We're actually in my sitting room of my house. Yes, a different location. And those of you who have watched these chats right from the beginning have known that I've always wanted to do a kind of a fireside talk, which is how the idea of these live chats came into being in my head anyway. I always wanted to do like a fireside chat, only I always ended up doing it in my kitchen. So maybe when the weather gets, quite cold, maybe I could come in here on several occasions. If you'd like that, please let me know if you would. And I could light the log burner and we could have a cozy, more intimate fireside chat. So let me know. Do you prefer this room or do you prefer my usual place of the kitchen? Do let me know. Ingrid saying, love my sitting room, so thank you so much. Oh, now, before we go into any questions, I did want to share with you some rather special news. In fact, well, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was contacted by Princess Michael of Kent's, no less, PR people from a latest book that she has been writing. And the good, kind people of Brant Travel Guides, which is who the publisher is for this latest Princess Michael of Kent book, have sent me a copy ahead of release. And I wanted to share with you the book. And here it is. And I was really excited to receive it. It's called A Cheetah's Tale. And it's by Her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent. And as I said, it's by Brant Travel Guides, B-R-A-D-T. Brant, I think that's how you say it anyway. Anyway, it's those travel guides, I hope you can see. And it features a lovely photograph of Princess Michael of Kent. And the book is basically about cheetahs and big cats. Now, I haven't read it yet. I haven't had time to read it. But I thought I'd share with you a little bit about it. There's some notable figures who have already read it and have made some comments. Joanna Lumley, Wilbur Smith, Dr. Sarah Drunt, David Shepherd, and Tony Fitzjohn. So some very notable people have read it. The cover is extremely glossy, very well put together. And just a little bit, I don't know, I'll turn to a random page just so you can see the kind of typeface that is being used. And it also features some really gorgeous photographs on the inside. I hope you can see those photos. So I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I will keep you up to date with what I think of it as I'm going through. I think this is going to be one of those sorts of books that you kind of want to dip in and out, and enjoy the different tales that Princess Michael has got to tell. So it's the closest she's ever got to a biography, which she said in her own words. I really can't wait to get stuck in. And there's also some amazing pictures of cheetahs and big cats from her travels So thank you again very, very much to the good people of Brat Travel Guides. And I very much look forward to reading it and doing ongoing reviews in this live chat. So if you're interested, and if you don't even want to wait for a review, you could always just, order it, pre-order it. If you think this is the sort of book that you would like, just go for it. I mean, it does look incredibly good. I'm just trying to, okay. A little bit of the foreword. It says, beautifully written by a natural storyteller. A Cheetah's Tale is a wonderful story of a vanished Africa, of a girl growing up and the incredible bond that can exist between people and animals. It's certain to delight readers worldwide. This is the cheetah version of Born Free. So it does look very, very good. And a little bits. I will actually mention some of Princess Michael of Kent, because some of you might not know that she actually writes books. So some of her previous books include the non-fiction historical works, Crowned in a Far Country, Cupid and the King, and The Serpent and the Moon. There's also the Anjou trilogy, Volume 1, The Queen of Four Kingdoms, Volume 2, Agnes Sorel, and Volume 3, Quicksilver. And they were her first forays into writing historical fiction. So, if you do want to see the reviews on this book, or if you'd like it to have its own separate video, do let me know in the comment section below. Okay, I'm going to read in some comments about that. Van Owl Girl, otherwise known as Candice, says, I'd love the fireside chats. Oh dear says, log burning chat in winter would be nice, especially around Christmas. HW says, fireside chats, please. Oh dear, congratulating me on receiving the book. Same for Candice. Nina says, wow, exciting. Sandy says, awesome. Congratulations, Elliot. Oh dear says, you'll have to give us the scoop on the book. I will indeed. Jen says, congratulations. Rob says, keep chatting with us from the sitting room. That way you won't have to worry if the dishes aren't done in the kitchen. That is a really good point. Fortunately, my sink is on the side that the camera is, so I don't really never have to worry about that. HW says, Elliot, you are becoming recognised by the royal court. I know how much you like Princess Michael of Kent. Yes, she is one of my particular favourites that I'm interested in. I've always said I would love to have a really good sit-down natter with her, a bit of a chit-chat. Not really an interview, I just like to have a chat with her. It would be really amazing. And I'm sure, as you can tell from the book, that she has lots of interesting stories to tell. So she's one of the royals that I would be interested just to have a sit-down chat with. I really would. Ingrid says, Princess Michael is a girl. Yes, that's because her husband is Prince Michael of Kent. And because he doesn't have any other title of his own other than being Prince Michael of Kent, his wife takes on his title, so she becomes known as the Princess Michael of Kent. Rob M says, by the way, greetings from the USA. Hello to you, Rob. Jen's also in the USA. Steve says, I can't get on. Just keep saying something went wrong and you've refreshed, but no, look, persevere. I've had my fair share of technical difficulties within the last 2 weeks. Just keep trying, try and refresh, or even log back in and log back out. Ingrid says, hi Steve, did you ever watch Netflix on Prince Philip? That's what we spoke about last week. I haven't yet, and please let me know if you have. Meg Princess says, good evening. The room looks lovely. Congratulations, they are watching. Well, if you are watching and you're a member of the royal family, hello and welcome to the chat. Do say hello. We'd love to hear from you. James Med4 says, so nice to see Prince William and the Queen going to church. The Prince has impeccable manners with his grandmother. Yes, that was one of my points that I wanted to talk about, and that was last Sunday. Prince William was seen arriving at Craffykirk Church on the Balmoral estate with the Queen. He was in the main car with the Queen. So there was no Prince Philip and there was no Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge. So it doesn't mean that anything's wrong. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with Prince Philip. Nothing's been announced, but the Queen was, William was the Queen's companion on that occasion. Catherine, of course, is still recovering from severe morning sickness, which is why she wasn't in attendance. So nothing to worry about. It's just that Prince William was the +1 on that occasion. And it's always interesting when the Queen's at Sandringham or Balmoral to see the arrivals at church and who is there. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow, Sunday, to see the latest arrivals of who is at Balmoral on the Queen's summer break. And of course the Queen will be there till roughly mid-October. Okay, Virginia says, love from Kimberley, South Africa. Hello to all my African friends and all my African viewers. Odia says, separate videos would be nice. The book sounds like one I would like to read too. Ingrid says, I was very moved watching some of the clips of the Invictus Games. What a wonderful event. Yes, now, I'm sure you probably realised that over the last week, my entire channel has probably been dominated by Invictus Games videos. And I know some of you, you have your favourite royals. Prince Harry might not be your favourite royal. The Invictus Games or sport might not be your particular interest, but it was the biggest event that's going on in the royal family right now. And we've had so many amazing photo opportunities come out of the Invictus Games. Not only that, it's an incredible cause. We spoke about this last week in my last chat, that I think, sports people all across the world, should be celebrated for their hard work and determination. But the athletes that compete in the Invictus Games have gone through that extra barrier, that they've had to kind of, this wall they've had to climb to get over. They may be suffering from post-mental trauma from events, physical traumas, loss of limbs, witnessing comrades losing their lives, all the rehabilitation they have to go through just to get there to compete is an amazing achievement. And I think Prince Harry recognising that, creating the Invictus Games is incredible. And that every single competitor in the Invictus Games has got an amazing backstory about them and about their struggles and how they've got there. So it's really fun as well to look into each competitor's backstory and how Prince Harry interacts with them. And like I said, we've had some amazing opportunities to see Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for the first time on an official public engagement, holding hands, sitting close together, looking very much the loving couple. And shall we talk engagement? I don't think we could go through a live chat without addressing the engagement rumours. Now that the Invictus Games is over, the final is tonight, so the closing ceremony is tonight. I'll be bringing you the video tomorrow. Once that's over, I can't really see any barriers for them announcing an engagement. It could be imminent. There are a few things maybe they don't want to clash with. So if they don't do it within the next couple of weeks, it could be round about Christmas time. We're thinking possibly a couple of weeks before Prince Harry would be due at Sandringham, which means that Meghan could accompany him, which would be a good time. If they don't wait until then, and when she's finished with all of her suits, things that she's doing, promotions for the new series and all the interviews and things that go with that, then the window could be in the next couple of weeks following the Invictus Games. So we really don't know. It isn't, as I said, pure speculation. We do think it's coming. I hope it comes, and I hope it comes soon, but we'll see. So expect an announcement at any time between now and when she finishes all of her suits work. Okay, a few people debating whether they should care about Meghan Markle. HW says Meghan Markle equals Wallis Simpson deja vu. Ingrid says, yes, oh dear, Harry is so instrumental in the event. Marvellous, just like his mum, caring about things that matter. And if you saw, actually, let's talk about the video that I posted last, which is the little girl that was sitting next to Prince Harry, sharing popcorn and kind of reaching into his bag and stealing his popcorn. Prince Harry seemed to really enjoy that and had such amazing interaction with children. And I think watching that video, you couldn't help look at his mannerisms and see Diana, Princess of Wales. Just the way that he moved, the way that he interacted with children, it was Diana all over. So I do urge you to watch that video, and you'll probably see what I mean. So comment on that video what you think. Nina says, I love the popcorn and the little girl. Oh dear says, Canadians were happy to see Harry and Meghan together, but quite unhappy that she looked like she had come from scrubbing the bathroom in her shabby, tacky, ripped jeans. Oh my goodness. And she was wearing leather as well. One notable point, which I did make in one of my videos, was that Prince Harry's protection officers and her bodyguards were seen in the stairwell closest to where she was sat. Now, you know, that's a serious display of the position that she's in. You do not get use of a personal protection officer unless you are probably engaged already. Nod, nod, wink, wink, if you know what I mean. So the announcement hasn't been made, but the likelihood is that they probably are already engaged and we're just waiting for the announcement. That's one little clue that we could perhaps speculate about. But of course, as I always say, it's always speculation until we've had an official announcement. ODS says, Harry did so well in Toronto this week. And Nicole says, this is a royal chat. She's dating Harry. We're going to chat about it. Don't listen. Yes, I mean, you know, everything's open. Anything connected to royalty could be discussed here too. I'm open for that. Caroline says, Prince Harry is such a nice man and came and talked to many of the ordinary people. He did indeed. Odia says, Suits doesn't finish filming until November, which is another indication that it could possibly be December, but don't rule out an announcement earlier. Candice says, I am so proud of what Prince Harry has done with not only the Invictus Games, but also his other charities as well. He's really amazing, loving human being. Hi to Valerie, who's in Memphis. Angel says, breaking news. There's a wedding to Princess Eugenie. Well, I haven't seen that yet. So I'm going to check Twitter. Don't forget Royal Reviewer on Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter. I'm also Royal Reviewer on Facebook as well. So I'm just going to just check the place I normally get news from and see if there is any announcement about Princess Eugenie. Carolyn says, no comparison between Meghan and that woman, Mrs. Simpson. James Medford says, did you see a report on Princess Eugenie getting engaged? No, not yet, but I am looking. I can't see anything yet. Maybe if I just type it in Google and we'll see. Okay, I've just typed it in Google. I'm just going to have a little quick look. Okay, nothing yet. Where did you see that report? Let me know. And I'll see if I can kind of work it out. I haven't seen it yet. Ingrid said, love that video with the little one and Harry's popcorn. Just shows how sweet he is. Ingrid said, how was my week? Very busy. Prince Harry definitely kept me busy with all the royal videos on the Invictus Games. Melody says, the Invictus Games has been such a triumph. I feel William and Harry are really thriving and growing in their roles. And of course, Prince William is stepping up his royal work, supporting the Queen, so that means more royal engagements. Catherine would have done the same if she wasn't pregnant, but I'm sure she will continue her full programme of royal engagements when she's back to health, following the severe morning sickness, and also following her maternity after having the baby. Duchess of Cambridge says, which palace do I prefer, Kensington or Buckingham? I think Kensington Palace is more of a home. Buckingham Palace is more of an official office working environment. It's a working palace. Lots of functions, state visits, offices, staff are all housed and in operational use, I should say, at Buckingham Palace. Kensington Palace is more of private homes. Of course, parts of it, the state apartments, are still open, but it's still very much a royal home with lots of different separate apartments. So I think I'd go for the more homely feel. So probably Kensington Palace for me. Oh dear says, oh, do find out about Eugenie. That would come before Harry's wedding. Possibly. That's if it's true, which I need to look that up. Is that Leilani? Says, I didn't know you were on Facebook and Twitter. Good to know. Yes, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and I've also got an Instagram too. Valerie says, I'm not crazy about Meghan. She's an American Pippa. She doesn't fit in. They do not get protection until there's a ring on the finger. She has her protection supposedly from her work. No. One of the, well, I think there was 3. So 2 of them might have been her bodyguards. One of them was a known personal protection officer. And I completely agree. She wouldn't get one unless she was engaged, which leads me to my earlier point that she may already be engaged, but the announcement not gone out. Ingrid says, I've always liked Fergie and think she's gotten a bad rep in the press, but that's the press for you. Indeed. And she's also came out with something this week, which I haven't made a video on yet because there wasn't that much information. I didn't really know if it was even technically true or not, but the reports were saying that she'd said that she's kind of questions herself whether her and Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, really ever did split up. So I need to do a little bit more research into that story and the truth behind it. Valerie says they are engaged. Jen says they are not. Angel says watch the news. Well, maybe I'll watch. Let me see if I can find a little bit more on the internet whilst we are on air about Princess Eugenie, because I'm not entirely sure. So let's go back. Okay, I'll read a few more of your questions. Valerie says yes, love the girl eating his eating Harry's popcorn. Nina says, I think when we see Catherine again, she will have a little tummy. That's quite a possibility. James says, any sighting on the new Canadian brooch? No, and that's the one that the Canadian people gifted the Queen. And no, I haven't. Ingrid says, wouldn't it be fun to meet up in London sometime with all the chatters? And in fact, I do have a little announcement further. Very, very, very soon, I will be going to London to visit the Houses of Parliament. So, and of course, I'm going to make as much of a video as I'm allowed to from there. HW says, Valerie, hence my comparison to of Markle to Wallis Simpson. Meghan is a Svengali influencer, a manipulator. Prince Harry's a lovely chap with a maternal void. That's certainly one way of looking at it. Sari says, love the picture of Harry and Barack Obama at the games. Yes, of course, a surprise meeting. Barack Obama turned up and met with Prince Harry. Angel says, in the news now, USA breaking news for royalty, wedding for Princess Eugenie in 2017. Well, I'm still looking. And I haven't seen anything yet about Princess Eugenie. Look, I'm looking now. Let me type it into Google again, because things are updated all the time. and I'll look for news stories just to see. So, Princess Eugenie news. Okay, I'm getting nothing through. So be wary, it might be fake. Okay. Fluffen Kaiser says, I think Elliot should have a conference meeting with all the royal reviewers. It would be invite only, so people would need to write. Oh, by the way, I do like that idea, but I've also got a little bit more news. This week is full of news. I've actually started the process of setting up a PO box, which means that I should have one fully set up over the Christmas period so that you can send me anything that you want, and also any companies or anybody who wants me to review any royal related products can also send some my way if they want to. So I don't have the address for that yet. I only started the process of setting it up last week, so hopefully that's all going through, and as soon as I know the PO box address, I will include it on every single video that I make from that point on, and I'll announce it on Twitter, Facebook, and all the rest of the social media accounts that I use for Royal Reviewer. So I just thought I'd let you know that I'd started that process. Carolyn rightly says, well, the last posting on Eugenie's wedding was that it was postponed. Well, not so much postponed, but just kind of left hanging in the ether more than anything else. It just wasn't mentioned again, basically. James Medford says, Prince Harry's Invictus Games has been all over the US media. He's the modern royal that his mother raised him to be, and I would quite agree with that. Oh dear says, the Church of England still doesn't do ceremonies with divorced people, so where would Meghan and Harry get married? Although the Queen would override all the rules that others are subject to. Well, basically, they could kind of get married. It could be a small occasion, such as, it could even be in Scotland, it could be in the Chapel Royal. Those are probably the options that I think are more likely. So they could follow Zara, or they could, like I said, maybe get married in the Chapel Royal. They could also have a civil ceremony and a blessing, maybe even in Windsor, a bit like Charles and Camilla did. Let's not forget, with Charles and Camilla, the Church of England recognised the marriage as being lawful. And of course, that could also happen with Meghan. Meghan may also choose, possibly, to convert to Church of England, which she could technically do. She doesn't have to, but she could do if she wanted. But I certainly don't see any barriers to marriage, and I'm sure the choice of venue will be one that they really like. And Meghan strikes me as being someone who might like a little bit more of an intimate wedding, intimate, more private wedding. Leilani says, I saw the announcement earlier this week about Princess Eugenie too. I'm thinking it's fake because I've heard absolutely nothing about it. And I think if it would have been out earlier in the week, I probably would have known about it. If it's breaking news whilst I'm doing this chat, then I don't know. I would need to look into it. But I certainly haven't heard about it from earlier in the week. Ingrid says, super, please post your PO box when you have it and you'll send me something. Well, thank you so much, and of course I will. Whilst we're on the subject of kind of setting things up, it's the final call. If you want a Royal Reviewer Christmas card, you need to do it literally ASAP today, because the cutoff point is the 1st of October. So if you want a Royal Reviewer signed, personalised, handwritten message Christmas card, then you need to get yourself over to Patreon, Patreon, and become a Royal Reviewer patron. $10 a month or over will get you the Christmas card. And also, if you stay signed up with Patreon as a Royal Reviewer patron, when it comes to your birthday, you'll also get a birthday card, as well as other rewards too, such as access to exclusive Facebook groups, exclusive Patreon only posts on Patreon, and all kinds of good stuff like that. So it is the final call. It is the deadline if you want a Royal Reviewer Christmas card. So I just thought I'd let you know that. So head on over to Patreon and just search for Royal Reviewer. Valerie says, I read they could get married in the Abbey, St Paul's, or anywhere he wants. If it's sanctioned by the church, then they could, technically, yes. Duchess of Cambridge says, Elliot, I love your living room, so cute and sophisticated. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading this tonight because the typeface is so small, and I have no idea how you alter it to make it bigger. So I'm having to lean in somewhat to read it. Ingrid says, tell us more about me. What would you like to know? Jen says it won't last long. Angel says King William and Queen Catherine will have a girl. I think it's a girl. I really do, but it would be more historic, as I've said before, if it was a boy, because the boy, for the first time ever, wouldn't jump ahead of his older sister in the line of succession. Valerie says, Elliot, will I marry you? My partner, I'm sure, would have something to say about that. Duchess of Cambridge says, do I live in England? In which part? I do live in England, and I'm from Shropshire. And I say that in every single video that I make. I say, from me in Shropshire, goodbye. Okay, Caroline says, it has been stated that the Archbishop of Canterbury would give them a dispensation to marry in the Abbey. It is a distinct possibility. Sari says, Elliot, you're looking pretty spiffy today. Love the pin. Thank you. And it's a replica of the Queen's Canadian maple leaf brooch. Okay, James Medford says, I think demand will be for a large wedding for Prince Harry. Scotland would be a great idea. I certainly think that people would want to be part of it and would want to see it. Okay, Candice says, frankly, I don't care who Prince Harry marries, as long as they are blissfully happy. She becomes a great asset to the royal family, and she never hurts them. That would be, I think, everyone's wish for the royal family and their future too. Carolyn says, there's nothing about Eugenie except something in hello. Okay, I've not heard this, so I can't possibly comment on it. And I had a quick look on Twitter and Google in general, and there's nothing that I can find on it. Ingrid says, of course, we all wish them happiness, but we still all have our opinions. We do indeed. Odia says, thanks, Caroline. Caroline, rather. As the Queen is the head of church, she will direct the Archbishop to do so. And of course, the Queen does follow strict rules laid down by the church. She doesn't change things just for her own wishes. Of course, she didn't, most notably, when Prince Charles married Camilla. Caroline says, have to go, take care, and have a great week. You're off to see the closing ceremony of the Invictus Games, and I will bring you that video about the closing ceremony tomorrow. Ingrid says, do I have any pets? Yes, I do. I have 2 cats, a girl, completely black cat called Molly, and a tabby cat called Rory. Angel says she's not been to England in her whole life. Well, do come, it's very interesting. HW says, I've been watching British real estate shows and would love for you to explain the difference between a water closet, a WC, a cloakroom, wet room, snug sitting room, and lounge. Okay, a water closet, a WC, is a toilet, so that would be a single toilet. So just a little room with a toilet and a hand basin. So usually you would say you've got a downstairs HWC, which means a downstairs toilet. A cloakroom would be a bit like a utility room, although most people would still call it a utility room. It could also be a place literally where you just hang your coats. So some people in some more older properties would have a special cupboard or even a special room just for coats and shoes. But some people might also refer to that as a utility. A wet room is a room that is usually got a shower that hasn't got a shower tray. So the water goes straight onto a tiled floor and soaks away into a drain. I think that's the best way of describing a wet room. A snug is a little bit like the room I'm in now. So it's a smaller, more intimate room where you might sit and maybe enjoy an evening. A sitting room is probably slightly larger than a snug, possibly even a bit more formal, a slightly more informal drawing room. And a lounge is pretty much the same as a sitting room, and depending on perhaps your class or status in life, you would perhaps refer to your main seating area as a lounge or a sitting room, or if you're very, very grand, you would have a drawing room. And I hope that helps. Sandy says, where are my cute cats? They are outside. James Medford says, her first wedding was when she was younger, so she may qualify for the church dispensation. I also think Catherine is having a girl. And any new names on the cards? No, I can't think of any. I think one of my preferred ones is possibly Alice or Victoria. Angel says, use breaking news for royalty wedding. I've done the news on the main Google, and there is nothing coming up. And that puts it usually in chronological order. Ingrid says, I think it's so fun to follow royalty. Such a rich history. It is indeed. And of course, all the traditions too. HW says, Elliot, Shropshire is a lovely landlocked county. It is indeed, which is on the Welsh borders, and they are indeed beautiful. Do you and your partner vacation in Wales? We have occasionally, yes, but more particularly South Wales, in Cardiff. Francesca B says, do you like other royals or only from Britain? Well, this channel mainly only focuses on British royals because they provide enough material for me to keep going with just the British royals. But I am interested in all walks of royalty, European royalty, Asian royalty, Japanese royalty. But yes, the main reason why I focus mainly on British royalty is because that's all that I have time pretty much to do. But I do have an interest in all royalty. Odia says, good point about Charles and Camilla's wedding. Ingrid says, tell us about how and why you began this channel. Okay, so I made my first video about 2 years ago now, and it was the one about Princess Diana's apartment at Kensington Palace with the interior pictures, and where I spoke about it. And I mean, looking back now, that video is very basic. There was no music. I didn't have any. I didn't write a script for it. I just basically spoke over a load of photos. So to me, that video feels rather primitive looking back. But I made the one video and then had about 6 months before I made my second video. So it was just a way of just seeing if I could put a video out there on YouTube. That first video got a lot of traction, and it inspired me to make more and more videos. Then I made a couple of more videos, perhaps 6 months after the first one. Then I probably had about another 6 month gap, and then I decided to start doing it regularly. So I tried to do it at least one video a week, which turned into 2 or 3 videos a week. And now I'm at the point where I do possibly up to 4 videos a day sometimes. And it's just kind of spiraled. I decided to do my live chats a little over a year ago now, where I decided that basically I wanted to speak to the people who watch the videos. I thought it would be very nice to connect with all of you guys, and kind of get a community feel going, because I noticed that lots of people were talking in the comment section, and I thought it would be nice to have one point in the week where we could all come together and have a like-minded chat on a shared interest. And that's basically how it's gone. Do you want to know anything further? If you do, ask me a specific question on that. Okay, Angel predicts that March the 27th, 2018 will be the due date for Catherine and Prince William, and you think it's a girl. Melody says, I feel Meghan will be a positive addition to the royal family, but it may be too soon to have a firm opinion. I think she will be a very good asset to the royal family. She's intelligent, she's caring, she's kind, and you know that by all the work that she does for her charities. And most importantly, she makes Harry very happy. And also, she's not afraid of hard work, especially, you know, coming from the background that she's had. She's worked very, very hard to make something of her life. And I think basically she really wants to also, you know, share that passion with charities, and particularly helping people in Africa. And that comes from a very, you know, a place close to her heart, because she's been doing that for years, way before she even met Harry. She was helping people, making trips to Africa, being a philanthropist. She had a website, the TIG, which kind of tried to get inside people's conscious and kind of get a bit of a charitable movement going, and help good causes. So I think she will be a real asset to the monarchy. Valerie says, I really hope they don't go with Alice as a first name. What is the front runner at the moment? Your thoughts on a girl or boy? And if a boy, you think it will be James Michael Philip. I think it might be a girl, although I'm hoping for a boy. I think a boy, there's lots of different names they could go for. It could be Michael, maybe. Or, oh, there's so many. Possibly the forerunner for a girl's name, possibly Victoria. I think the boy's name is slightly more tricky to guess. Let me know what you think. Pam says, I would like to hear more about Eugenie. And also, do they like or dislike Catherine or not? We are never going to know their own personal opinions on other members of the royal family. They don't discuss that in public. So that would be an impossible question to answer. However, I think we can kind of take from the fact that they're seen together on public engagement sometimes, when it's a family event. They seem to be getting on well, chatting congenially with each other. So I don't see any problems there. Okay. Fluffan Kaiser says, interesting question. The British royalty is a standalone dynasty. I am fascinated by Saudi Arabian royalty and how the process of monarchy is decided by family as to whom the next monarch. Well, when you say decided by family, it's decided by family as in the line of succession. The Queen, for example, can't choose which one of her family that she would like her heir to be. Her heir is her eldest child, Prince Charles. And of course, nowadays, I'm going to cough. And of course, nowadays, it doesn't matter if you are a firstborn female. You can be the heir officially to the throne, even if you are a firstborn female. Just because a boy comes along after will not supplant the female. Sari says, I love your videos, much fun. Thank you so much. Sandy says, Elliot, a lot of us follow you for a while, and for the past 3 weeks I've seen some really hateful comments, and it's sad. Yes, I mean, I suppose that's a response to the channel growing and being so big. I now have over 12 million channel views across the whole channel, and was it 16 or 17,000 subscribers. So it kind of goes with the territory that the bigger you get, the more people you're going to have watching the videos, the more people are going to comment. And I believe in free speech, so I'm not going to go around, deleting comments unless they are being, intentionally vile to target a particular person. I do tend to read all of the comments that I can, and the ones that I like or agree with, I give a little thumbs up to. Some of them I will comment to myself, but basically, yes, I think you shouldn't have to expect to get hateful comments, but I think it goes with the territory of having a growing channel, and lots of YouTubers talk about, the hate comments that are on their channels, and I tend to just try and not let it bother me, and I certainly would never comment to them. Don't give them the traction. Valerie thinks that Victoria is a good name, and Alice Catherine. Duchess of Cambridge says, do you think Elizabeth II is the most rich person in the UK? No. For about nearly 20 years now, she has not topped the what we call the Sunday Times Rich List, which is our kind of Forbes, if you like. No, her personal wealth, I think, is estimated at around about £380 million. About 20 years ago, she was the richest person in Europe, but then they stopped counting all of the treasures and the crown jewels that are held in trust by the monarch for the nation. So, in other words, all they do now is count her own private wealth, not the entire crown estates. Because if you counted the crown estates, the crown jewels, all the artwork inside the palaces, all of the royal collection, you are talking that she would be the richest person in Europe, at least. But her own personal wealth is roughly around about 380 million, or thereabouts. Ingrid says, have I ever been to the US? Yes, I have. I went in 2005 to New York. Morajor says, I love the backdrop. Duchess of Cambridge says, I like for a girl, Sophia Alexandra Diana, and James Benjamin Louis for a boy. That's some interesting name choices. James Med 4 says, have you seen Victoria and Abdul? No, I haven't seen that yet. It's on my to-see list. Ingrid says that's tops of her list of films to see too. Annette says Maple Leaf brooch for the Invictus Games. Yes, I wore it last week too, but I'm sure you can forgive me for wearing it twice in a row. Oh dear says subscribers have really bumped up over the last few weeks, and yes, that is indeed good. Candice says, I don't think William and Catherine would pick James as a first name, as there is an already young James in the family whose parents are senior members. Again, I kind of agree. I don't think it will be a name that's in current use by any younger members of the family, at least. HW says, a boy born the 9th of April 2018, and you think it'll be James Edward Alexander Philip, and they can call him Jeep. Rough and tumble, cute name for a cricket or football player. Lots of people laughing at Jeep. The first Mrs. R, hello to you. Says, sorry I popped in late today. Was wondering, do you still think there will be an engagement announcement in October? Okay, if there's not an engagement announcement in the next couple of weeks, I think it will be a couple of weeks into December before Prince Harry goes to Sandringham, so that Meghan can go with him to Sandringham. Okay, and I'm just okay. No, hang on. Where am I? Okay, yes, HW says both definitely. And you love New York City for a vacation. I really enjoyed it, and I would like to go back at some point. James Medford says that Judi Dench will be great, and yes, she is an amazing actress. Ooh, Jane's suggesting, what about Theodore Louis? That's a very interesting choice. Okay, now I'm just going to go back to my list to see if there's anything that I really need to talk about. Okay, oh yes, on a recent engagement, Prince William disclosed that Catherine has been eating ginger biscuits to try and combat that severe morning sickness. So let me know, do you think the ginger biscuits are working? I'm not so sure they are, because she still seems very, very kept away from the public, shall I say. A bit reclusive. I made another video this week about a story, and I do believe it to be a true story, that the Queen and Princess Margaret, for the Queen Mother's 90th birthday, recorded, I think it was 14 tracks of nursery rhymes, where they were singing them. And apparently the Queen is a really good singer, so they recorded this tape, but the tape has since been misplaced since the Queen Mother's death. Whether it has been misplaced or not remains to be seen. But I certainly don't think in the Queen's lifetime we will be taking a listen to that tape. But I'm sure it's probably out there somewhere. So let me know, would you like to listen to the tape? Prince Harry was also seen taking lots and lots and lots of photographs and selfies at the Invictus Games. And then what we don't know is that for personal use? Was it to record the Invictus Games? Was it to send to Meghan? Was it to just to keep for his own memories? Why was he taking lots and lots and lots of photographs? Does he even possibly have a secret project on the go about the photographs and experiences that he's seen from attending the Invictus Games? Could they be put together into a book? Maybe. Let me know what you think, because he did seem to be taking rather a large amount of photographs. Prince Harry also met at the Invictus Games with Barack Obama and Melania Trump. The Melania Trump meeting seemed a little bit more formal. Some people said a little bit awkward. And if you compare that meeting to that of Barack Obama, you can probably see a little bit of a difference there. Also, a little bit of news on, well, not news, my thoughts and opinions on the Victoria ITV TV series, which I'm really, really enjoying. I know in the States and Canada you get that a little bit later, possibly even after Christmas, but the second series of Victoria is really, really good and definitely worth a watch. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, although of course we know what the story is because it's following history. But I love the little plots that are intertwined with the staff and the downstairs elements of Victoria. Reminds me very much of Downton Abbey. So yes, that is definitely one to watch. So I would definitely recommend rather that. Okay, lots of people saying that yes, ginger biscuits work. Sandy says ginger helped you during your severe morning sickness. Candice says ginger is very good for severe nausea. Ingrid agreeing that ginger is really good. And you ate Chinese ginger. Wow. What's the difference between normal ginger and Chinese ginger? Annette says ginger is great for nausea. Duchess of Cambridge says, did I go to the Invictus Games? No, but I would have loved to. It's too far away. I'm in the UK, the Invictus Games is in Toronto. I've got a full-time job. So no, I couldn't get away to go to the Invictus Games. I would dearly have loved to, though. The first Mrs. R says, ginger is a very old and very effective treatment for nausea. You've used it when you've been sick, and you make your own ginger syrup. Wow, that sounds good. That you take straight or mix with a seltzer for ginger ale. Well, that sounds really good and very creative too. James Medford says, I think Princess Michael should be given an elevated title like Princess Alice, the Duchess of Gloucester. She has been married for almost 40 years. I think she's, well, probably Prince Michael is probably quite happy with current arrangements, but you know, you can't rule it out. It could potentially happen, but I probably think not. I'd probably go err on the side of caution with that one. HW says morning sickness is cured with vitamin B6 and also great for building the baby's brain and resulting in a higher IQ. And I also heard that I think a bit more of a stronger treatment is used to treat the hyperemesis gravidarum, and I think I've said that right, which is the severe morning sickness that Catherine is suffering from. I think they usually use the same kind of treatment that you would use for, I think it was leukemia. So that's something put in intravenously. The first Mrs. R says, I think Harry is taking them for himself as well as the palace social media outlets. And that, of course, is referring to the photos that he's been seen taking at the Invictus Games. And you could be right, definitely. Duchess of Cambridge says, have I ever gone to Kensington Palace? I've been outside it, I've been in the gift shop, but I've not been into the state apartments, and I've been in the grounds as well, and I did really like it. It's an amazing historical place. Ingrid says, what do I think about President Trump? Well, I think I've spoken about him before, and I think I said he's one of those figures, a controversial figure that people either love or hate. He's quite a divisive figure either way. James Medford says, you get Victoria the first Sunday after New Year's Day. Well, that will be a real treat because it is a really spectacular work. The first Mrs. R says, I'm loving Victoria, but I'm dreading what will be coming up for her, which of course is the death of Albert, but I don't think they're doing the death of Albert this series. Annette thinks that Harry was communicating with Meghan in pictures. Jen says, Duchess of Cambridge, you need a new name. It can be a mouthful. Ingrid says, do I go to church? Not regularly, as in every Sunday, but I was christened in a church. And actually, I live quite close to my local church. And sometimes I stand outside in the evening and listen to the bells because I can hear the bells chiming. And my grandmother, who passed away a few years ago now, is buried there. So sometimes I go outside and listen to the church bells and think about her. Sari says, I love the Victoria series. Yeah, you're in the States, so you'll have to wait. Odia says, the royals do a lot of PR for themselves, and perhaps some of the photos Harry has taken will be used for the next upcoming games. It's a possibility that that could happen. Nina says, how is Michael related to the Queen? I do believe it's her cousin. Okay, I'm just going down some of your comments. Okay, HW says, Elliot, do you have a pub or post office, church and grocer, farmer's market in my village? And in my town, yes, I have all of those actually. James Medford says, on Victoria, you want Prince Albert to catch those thieving staff members. Okay, that's a little bit of a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen it yet. Okay, Midnight Hazel says, I read that Prince George is fed up with school. Yes, and I made a video about that. Prince William, on a recent engagement, disclosed that I think the novelty has worn off with school for Prince George, and he is indeed fed up of going. Chamberlain 4 says Catherine is great and proving what a great asset she is to the royal family. I would agree. She's certainly doing her duty, and I think once royal baby number 3 and maternity is out of the way, I think she will step up a lot more into royal duties. Okay. So over to you for the questions. I've got nothing else in my list to talk about. Oh, I may actually read to you some of the possible upcoming things for the week, if there are any that I've got in my diary. Okay. I've told you that in the upcoming weeks I may be taking a trip to Parliament. On Tuesday the 10th of October it's World Mental Health Day, and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Prince Harry will be at a reception at Buckingham Palace. And I'm also going to send out my Royal Reviewer Christmas cards to members of the royal family on the 13th of October. And some of the people that I've, well, some of the royals that I've decided to send to are like last year, the Queen and Prince Philip, Prince Harry, Charles and Camilla, William and Catherine. But I've also decided to send a Christmas card to Princess Anne, the Wessexes, Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, and the Duke of York and Sarah Ferguson and Eugenie and Beatrice. So hopefully I'll get lots more replies from those. Joanne Lowe says, your fireplace behind you looks so cozy. Thank you so much. And one week I may light it for you. Oh dear says, funny about Prince George and going to school, where he had a better buck up because it's a very long road ahead. It is indeed. He's got a long time at school and possibly university yet. Okay, HW says, Elliot, are you close to the River Severn? I believe it's the longest river that runs through Shropshire. It is indeed. And yes, I'm not a million miles away from the River Severn. And no, I haven't ever done paddle boarding. Ingrid says, when you send your Christmas cards, tell them you would like an invite with the Queen. Well, last year I did say that it was all my Christmas cards were from the whole Royal Reviewer viewers too. So I did send them on your behalf too. Candice says, I'm still waiting and hoping Her Majesty will honour Catherine with a family order. You know how I feel about that. Yes, I do, and I'm sure it will be coming up, you know, in the forthcoming years, maybe after baby number 3. Let's keep our eyes and ears open on that one. The first Mrs. R says, what is your, if Harry and Meghan have a wedding that works, will they wait until, when will they have their wedding? I think possibly the summer, early summer perhaps. And then that would miss clashing with royal baby number 3. Joanne says, do I think the Duke of York and Sarah Ferguson will remarry? Who knows? Maybe not in the Queen's lifetime, but possibly. The first Mrs. R is loving the fireplace too. Midnight Hazel says, what is a family order? I think it's better to describe, because you may have seen one but not realised it. The family order is on a sash on state occasions, usually a blue ribbon. They have a little kind of like a brooch that has a photograph of the monarch, or like a little miniature portrait of the monarch. So the Queen has one of her grandfather and her father, and lots of members of the family have been given one, have one of the Queen, and that is the family order, and it's a great honour to have one bestowed by the Queen. And that is the Queen's gift to give. And usually the Queen gives them out to female members of the royal family, many years into marriage actually, although it does vary slightly, but Catherine is still waiting for hers. Jen is singing chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I have actually cooked things on there. It's got a flat top, and I have actually used the kettle too. Okay, so I'm going to end tonight's chat here. I hope you've all had a fabulous chat and a fabulous week. I hope you all have an amazing upcoming week. I will bring you the final instalment of the Invictus Games. I will also group all videos together, either in a playlist or one big video where you can watch all of the Invictus Games. I hope you've enjoyed all the video clips which I put in with the video. And yes, so the Invictus Games will be finished, and I will be going back to the normal videos that I try to make about lots of different royals. Although William and Catherine have been fairly quiet since Harry's been in Toronto, Canada. Prince Charles and Camilla are still not back on full royal duties from their summer break. The Queen is still at Balmoral, and I hope to bring you a church video of the Queen at Balmoral on Sunday, which is tomorrow. So again, I hope you've all had a fabulous week, and you're all going to have an amazing week ahead. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.